While the James Bond franchise missed its first chance to promote Miss Moneypenny to the role of M, Bond 26 can make up for this mistake. Bond has relied on both his flirtatious secretary Miss Moneypenny and his boss M since the character's big-screen debut. However, when the James Bond franchise had the chance to transition one actor from the former role to the latter, the creators of the series opted not to do so. In an interview with the BBC after the original Miss Moneypenny actor Lois Maxwell passed away in 2007, James Bond franchise star Roger Moore expressed surprise that the actor's character was never offered a promotion to the role of M. Now, the upcoming Bond 26 can right a classic 007 wrong by fixing this oversight. Bond 26 could keep Naomie Harris Miss Moneypenny as part of the franchise's cast but promote her to M's job, as this would both ground a younger Bond in the same universe as Daniel Craig's now dead 007 and affirm that a lot has changed since the events of the 25th James Bond adventure. Why Naomie Harris Miss Moneypenny should be Bond 26's M by connecting Craig's version of James Bond with the next actor's take on the iconic role. Bond 26's new M could draw attention to how much younger this new Bond is than his predecessor. The fact that the James Bond franchise's producers want the next James Bond to last a decade or more proves that they want a younger replacement for Daniel Craig, specifically, a 30-something according to Deadline. Thus, there would be no better way to establish the difference between these iterations of 007 than to make the last Bond's colleague into the new 07's boss. This suggests a level of behind-the-scenes continuity in MI6 and would allow the franchise to also bring back Ben Whishaw's version of Q, an underused supporting star with a lot of untapped potential. The James Bond franchise could always simply bring back Harris as Moneypenny and maintain MI6's same supporting staff this way, as earlier Bonds have done, with Maxwell playing Moneypenny for both Connery and Moore. However, promoting Harris' character to M would instead imply that MI6 has evolved and changed since Craig's time in the role, allowing Bond 26 to keep Craig's 007 canon relevant by showing that MI6 still moves on even when Bond is not present, or, in this case, when one James Bond has died and the next has not yet been assigned. If Harris Moneypenny was promoted to M, this would clarify that James Bond is an identity passed on from one spy to the next, all of whom work with the same people like M and Q, rather than relying on the somewhat mysterious and unclear, Bond changes but his co-workers stay the same system used by earlier outings. Why Bond 26 should introduce a new version of M. Daniel Craig's James Bond movies never made much use of Ralph Fiennes' M, a version of the character who was notable mostly for how little he interacted with 007. While Judi Dench's M had a playful back and forth with Pierce Brosnan's charming version of James Bond and a sweeter, sadder relationship with Craig's more somber 007, Fiennes' take on M never left much of a distinct impression. In contrast, Naomie Harris Miss Moneypenny was the most fleshed-out version of Bond's co-worker that the series has introduced so far, a more vulnerable character than Fiennes' M, who also had a closer personal relationship with 007. Charismatic, funny, and more involved in the suave super spy's adventures than earlier versions of the character, Harris's Moneypenny was a great addition to the franchise. It is possible that Bond 26 could make Fiennes' M as memorable as Harris's Moneypenny, but the simpler and smarter solution is to promote the existing character and ensure that the James Bond franchise's new version of M is a character that viewers already know and love. As such, instead of trying to make the existing M more interesting in Bond 26, the James Bond franchise should make use of an existing asset and promote Miss Moneypenny to the role.
With that gentle touch you tell me what